What's up, wrestling fans, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Escape, your weekly escape from the real world and into the squared circle. It is me, Kyle Miller, and today's episode is all about previewing and predicting the full SummerSlam 2025 card, unless they decide to add more matches at the end after this recording. We're going to go through match by match, bold takes and all. And again, if this is your first time listening, thank you. And be sure to hit follow or subscribe so you don't miss an episode that we provide weekly. And if you've been hanging out with us back into the ropes days, I'd really appreciate a quick 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple or anywhere you listen and watch. It does help the show grow and brings even more wrestling fans like yourself into the pro wrestling community. All right, and on our first segment today, this is going to be something new that we do moving forward each week, is going to be July 29th, 2002 on Monday Night Raw. This is when Shawn Michaels was brutally attacked backstage. Do you remember who did it? Now, this is right when Shawn Michaels came back after 4 years from being retired. They found out it was Triple H, which set up an iconic and brutal match, unsanctioned match, that is, at 2002 SummerSlam. I remember watching the build-up, watching the match. I was 13 or 14 years old at the time, so I was a product of the Attitude Era. So I was just hating and loving it. I'll never forget when Triple H turned his back on Shawn Michaels. You would have thought that it was the worst betrayal of all time. Uh, it it was awesome. I'm not going to go too far into it because that's what happened on this week about 23 years ago. But that kicked off a fantastic SummerSlam of 2002. The angle is still considered, believe it or not, one of the best setups for a return match in WWE history. All right, let's just get into it. Now, they've announced many, many matches. And so, what we're going to do here in this segment is we're going to go through the card. I'll give a quick preview and my eventual predictions of what I think will happen. And along those lines, it may plug in like who I want to win and who I think should win. And a lot of that, it really just depends on how the story gets played out or how the story is told or if they're just done telling that story. So I'm going to run through all the matches. I'm going to try to kick it in an order that I feel would be on the card. So the first match I think would be a great first match, whether it's Saturday or Sunday night, live from MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. I do think the first match should and will be Solo Sikoa defending his U.S. title in a steel cage versus Jacob Fatu. Two Samoan monsters are going to collide here, and maybe several more Samoans because the bloodline, they are everywhere. And I can see even a few more of them trying to slip through the cage to kind of determine what happens in this match. But I do expect a very physical battle between these two. There's no love lost, obviously, between these two. They have the cage, but let's face it, the ref will get knocked out, or somebody will have bolt cutters to get into the cage to try to determine the ending of this match. Now, I want Solo to win because I want the storyline to continue and to evolve and potentially bring in new members or bring in a member that's been on the sidelines for a little bit, Tama Tonga. That would be awesome if he could come back. But my prediction of who I want to win is Solo, and who I think will win, I do think Solo will win. And let's look to find out during this match. It is a cage match. One spot that I think we might see is Jacob Fatu because he is crazy, is going to the top of the cage and then doing his Samoan splash. I don't know. That could happen. And boy, that would be something, wouldn't it? All right, next we have the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. We have Judgment Day, which is Raquel and Roxanne, the current champions, and they are going to be facing Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Now, with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, traditionally, I do not like when two megastars become a tag team. And however, I do think that has to happen anytime there is a division that is just lacking something. And I feel like the women's tag team division is definitely lacking. So I think that's why maybe part of the reason they paired these two up together. They have such great chemistry, even though they're not best friends. But the match itself, I thought Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss were going to beat Judgment Day at Evolution. And I truly thought that was going to happen and I was wrong, which makes me think even more. I think Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss are going to get it done at SummerSlam and win these tag team titles from Judgment Day. And this might be a rough night or a rough 2 nights for Judgment Day, as there's some more gold that they could be losing, which will lead us into our next match. It's the Intercontinental Championship match. Current title holder and Dirty Dom Mysterio will be facing finally AJ Styles. And as we were waiting to see Dirty Dom get cleared, they sure had AJ Styles in more of a comedic role. And I got to be honest, he crushed it. Being the valet, having the glasses, reading notes like an old man, and he's getting up there in age in terms of in the ring wrestler. Yeah, he's still amazing inside the ring. And I think for this match, I do think AJ Styles is going to carry the action. Dirty Dom is going to play a sneaky heel, which he is fantastic at. I expect drama. I expect interference. And I do expect, for my prediction, AJ Styles to win, because I think Judgment Day is going to inadvertently screw Dirty Dom. Next, we have the Women's World Championship. This will be a triple threat match. This is current title holder Naomi facing off against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Now, we're going to take this back to Evolution real quick. And this is when Rhea Ripley and Io Sky had an incredible match. And, I'm sitting there watching it with my wife and our oldest daughter, who's almost 5. I can't get her to stop watching. She is obsessed with wrestling. And thankfully, we were able to watch Evolution all together. And she, be being a girl dad is definitely I'm very appreciative of it. Watching my almost 5-year-old daughter really enjoy wrestling. Obviously, I love that because then we can watch it together. But her watching the women just goes to show you that anything can happen, and that's what I want for her. I want her to see that there is opportunities out there, not just in professional wrestling, but you can become what you want to become. So, all right, I got a little sidetracked there, but with this triple threat match with Naomi and Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, I truly think Rhea Ripley's going to win. That's my prediction, because what I think is going to happen is later on that night or the next night, I think Naomi is going to get involved in the Jade Cargill Tiffany Stratton match. So again, prediction is Rhea Ripley. I think she will take the women's title. Next, we have the tag team match. It's the Celebrity Spotlight. Randy Orton and Jelly Roll versus Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. Now, I got to say, I'm usually not one to be a fan of Hollywood actors, actresses, musicians to get involved in WWE storylines, especially the major pay-per-views like WrestleMania and obviously this one, SummerSlam. However, having said that, I am a huge fan of Jelly Roll and his music. I listen to him daily. Now, does that mean I should like him in the ring? No, it doesn't. But take Travis Scott, for example. I like his music, but I absolutely hated whether it was his decision, TKO, WWE, Triple H. I don't really care. It was all a mess. And the fact they made a mess of the main event at WrestleMania, it's a sour taste in my mouth. And now they're saying Travis Scott basically is done with WWE. So that was a flop. But I do think with Jelly Rolls specifically, I think he is such a good guy that he wants to do what's best for the business. And I think he wants to do what's best for himself as well. So I do think this will be a great match. It's going to be fun. It's going to be chaotic, full of crowd pops. To see Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul team up together, they're fantastic heels. They're just so good at being dicks. They're so good at it, and you love to see it. And I think Randy Orton and Jelly Roll will win. And don't be surprised if you see Jelly Roll pull out an RKO as well. Next on the list, I have the World Heavyweight Championship. We have Gunther, current title holder, going against CM Punk. Now, this is going to be a hard-hitting classic. I expect serious chop shots, stiff shots, and brutal bumps, because I think on social media, because I don't think it happened on Raw or SmackDown a couple of months ago, Gunther gave a brutal chop to CM Punk. And Punk was just, kind of screaming in agony, but kind of smiling in a weird way. But he was down on the mat and he was just tapping the mat like, I give up. So he submitted to getting chopped by Gunther, which I thought was pretty hilarious. My prediction, I do think this is where CM Punk gets his title. And, he's been through a lot. There's a bunch of CM Punk lovers out there, and there are some haters. I'm kind of in between. I think he definitely deserves a world title shot. and I think and what she's getting, and I think he's also going to take advantage of that. I think he will dethrone Gunther for that title. Next on my list is the Women's Intercontinental Championship, the no DQ match between current title holder Becky Lynch against Lyra Valkyria. Now, with this no DQ, we're going to see weapons. We're going to see brawling on the outside. And I'm going to talk up Lyra here for a second. I think she has it all. And I'm going to kind of break it down for you. I think physically in the ring, she's got it. She's not nervous. She looks very fluid. Um, she does not have any tendencies to kind of like, kind of clam up where, some of the wrestlers, if they're not confident enough in their abilities, is where they can get injured, but they just look stiff in the ring. And to me, she does not look stiff. Um, I will say she's getting better and better each time she gets the microphone. And when she's cutting promos, she's got some confidence there. And I think I kind of equate it to wrestlers that, back in the day when they were first starting out. Take Roman Reigns, for example. When he was in Florida Championship Wrestling, which is now NXT, I think he had a character called Leaki or Loki when he first came out before he pre Roman Reigns. And, he had a mic, he cut promos. I think Byron Saxton was even interviewing him back in the day. And it just, when he was getting interviewed, it was just didn't sit well. But that's the thing. Just like anything else in this world, the only way to get better is you practice and you practice and you practice. And I think it's safe to say Roman Reigns has gotten much better on the mic. So will Lyra get to that level? That's not what I'm really getting at. I'm just getting the fact that mic skills are something you can work on. Athleticism and having it in the ring, I feel like you either got it or you don't. Now, my prediction on the match, I know I'm building her up like crazy, and you're gonna be like, wait, why did you just spend 3 minutes talking about that? I am picking Becky Lynch to retain. I think Bayley is gonna get involved somehow again, being a no DQ. So I do think Becky Lynch will retain. Next, I have the WWE Women's Championship match: Tiffany Stratton, current title holder, versus Jade Cargill. I mean, you talk about power, finesse. I mean, they're both stars, and still pretty young in the business, but I think inside the ring, they're going to put on a great match. Don't be surprised if you somehow see Naomi get involved, especially if she loses that title. Now, of course, it depends on where the matches are on the card. That'll even affect it. Regardless, my prediction is going to be Tiffany Stratton retaining. Now, if Naomi ends up losing that title match and they have not had this Stratton Cargill match yet, Naomi will get involved in this match, and I do think Bianca Belair will also get involved. So we could see kind of maybe a triple threat. And I kind of remember that storyline with Jade Cargill ended up on the car. They said it was Naomi, but don't be surprised if Bianca ends up being the heel in all of this. So hopefully she can come back. She's been out of action for quite some time. I think there's a couple of broken fingers or something. It's been wrapped up heavily the last few times she's been on TV. All right, next is kind of a rumored match, depending on when I've been recording this. Raw definitely has teased Roman Reigns and Jey Uso taking on Big Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. This is coming after Paul Heyman cut a promo asking Roman Reigns to take over the reins, no pun intended, of Seth Rollins while he is out. And obviously Roman took offense to that. It's like, no, I'm definitely not doing that. So I think this match will happen. And this is one of those matches where it's more of bragging rights. There's not really there's no titles, that's for sure. And we got to see where the story goes. I think it makes more sense for Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker to win because you can't just bury these guys just because Seth is gone. And now that doesn't mean they're going to pin Roman Reigns. It'll be Jay that takes the pin if they end up winning. But this could be where you could see more Bloodline members. You could maybe see uh, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker's group growing. There's a lot of ways, a lot of routes, a lot of paths that story can take, and I'm kind of excited for that one. My prediction, though, for that match will be Big Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker will win. Not sure if it'll be clean or not. I think that's what's going to happen. And the final match that I have is the undisputed WWE Championship. This is the street fight. This is John Cena, current title holder, versus Cody Rhodes. It's going to be emotional. It's going to be violent, and it's going to continue to be personal. And this is a WrestleMania rematch with no rules. And WWE has been teasing this quite some time. John Cena, current heel. They've been teasing that he's going to come back and be a good guy again. Remember, I think he only has 13 or 14 scheduled dates left, and then he's done, supposedly. And then you have Cody Rhodes. He's the ultimate babyface. Everybody loves him, my daughter's included. And oh, I didn't even think about that. If he turns heel, what is she gonna do? Ooh, this will be interesting. Okay. Well, anyways, back to this match. I'm already thinking what my daughter's reaction is going to be instead of my own. But I think this match is going to be, it could be a long match, depending if they bring back, other talent to get involved in the storyline. However, again, I'm a storyline guy and I want to see, I think what makes the most sense, I want to see Cody win. And then I want to see John Cena get a rematch. And what that could mean is the volatility of the title. Because if you think about it, again, I'm a product of the Attitude Era. So the title changed nightly sometimes, depending on what the title was. And then also it would change during dark matches and live events. So I think if WWE could get back to that, instead of doing these long, drawn out storylines of 6 months, one year at a time, if they win this title, that's how long you get it for. Scratch that, let's just go crazy, Let's just have guys win titles all the time, back and forth. But my prediction after all of that, I do think Cody will win, but I think that'll also set up something for in the future to either have a rematch with John Cena or maybe a triple threat with somebody else. But I think Cody is going to win the gold again. This could be where The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, plugs in again, all about selling his soul. We'll see if that comes back up. So those are my predictions. Let me know what you think. Send me a message on Instagram at Pro Wrestling Escape. I love talking to everybody, DMing back and forth. Pro wrestling is just so much fun. This is our TV show that we watch. Now, granted, we all watch many other shows, but kind of like a soap opera in a way, but with more fighting, better acting. Personally, I think it's just something to look forward to. It's such a great escape. And honestly, the wrestlers, if you think about it, it's an escape from reality for them too, because they're on the road all the time. I can't imagine traveling as much as they do, sleeping in hotel rooms. And yeah, some of these guys are making great money, but still, just the toll physically and mentally it takes on you. And most of these talent has families and children, and it's definitely a nice escape to have. And thank you. I appreciate everybody being on this journey with me. So our last segment is called Listeners Takes. Now, I do not have a better name than that yet. I will. But this is something I thought of a couple of days ago. And what it is, what I did, I reached out to several of our close followers that have been following us for quite some time. And that really I can just tell they love wrestling. They have great takes, bold takes, some funny takes, and just great knowledge. I don't know every single thing in wrestling. It's impossible. But what this new segment is just wrestling fans like yourself, sending me a question or your prediction on a storyline or a pay per view. And then what I can do is I'll shout out on the podcast, and I'll kind of talk through my thoughts and give you a mention. So I'm looking forward to this. Let's go ahead and get into a few of them. So the first one is Sean Paul. He is at Elefantasmo _ SPG. Now, if I butcher your guys' usernames, let me know. So Sean Paul had asked me to rank these wrestlers based on in-ring ability. This one's going to be tough. All right, so he's got Bryan Danielson, AJ Styles, Shawn Michaels, and Kenny Omega. Now, keep in mind, these are probably the four best in-ring performers, at least within the last 20, 25 years. So my ranking is my ranking, and I'll kind of explain why. But for number 4, I have Kenny Omega. He's a high impact guy, a very cinematic matches. He's at his best with just like the right dance partner, if you will, like Okada or Will Ospreay, and he really thrives in the long, layered type matches. He's slightly less polished than the other guys on the list. That's no slight to him, though. The fundamentals and psychology side compared to the others aren't as great as well. But again, no disrespect to Kenny Omega, but he is my number 4 in comparison with the other guys. Number 3, I have AJ Styles. Why? He's incredibly consistent, very adaptable in the ring, and also his acting ability. I know we're doing in ring ability, but from TNA to New Japan Pro Wrestling to WWE, he's been a top tier worker everywhere. I mean, he's fluid, he's explosive, and he's also a smooth in just nearly every movement. And to this day, like I can't wait to see his match against Dirty Dom. I think, like I said earlier, he's going to carry the match. It's going to be fantastic, and I hope he wins the gold. My number two is Daniel Bryan or Brian Danielson. And the why is he's just really the master of technical wrestling. His pacing, his in-match storytelling. I mean, whether it's like a 5-minute TV match or a 60-minute Iron Man match on a pay-per-view, the man can carry anyone to a classic. He really blends MMA style realism with like classic psychology better than nearly anyone inside the ring. And I miss him in WWE. And then number one, that leaves us with the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, also the original Mr. WrestleMania. Shawn Michaels has revolutionized modern WWE style matches, mixing athleticism with emotional depth. Earlier talking about his comeback run started in 2002 to 2010, maybe the greatest second act in wrestling history, but just overall, he had it all inside the ring. Like his pacing is his selling ability. That's another big thing that for me as a fan, I love seeing wrestlers that can just sell the crap out of any move, not oversell. There's a line. So when I think of Shawn Michaels selling, I think of also Dolph Ziggler. I miss him too in WWE, but I think Shawn Michaels would be my number one out of those four. So that's Shawn Michaels number one, Daniel Bryan number two, AJ Styles number three, and then Kenny Omega number four. Great question, son. Thank you so much for that. All right, next we have at underscore that's just Chris. Appreciate you, Chris. So Chris had said he thinks Bianca Belair is going to cost Jade at SummerSlam. Now that's a bold and spicy take. I could definitely see that happening, and I would love to see that happen because imagine Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi all hating each other at the same time in a triple threat match. Make that match no DQ. Oh man, I would be glued to the TV on that one. That's a good call out right there. Chris also did say, or excuse me, that's just Chris. Also did say Randy or Cody turns heel at SummerSlam. I'm all for it. Yeah, I saw a meme the other day. This reminds me of this. There's a picture of John Cena smiling and smiling when he was young, and John Cena smiling when he is his current age, older. And what it had said was me when there was a heel turn, and the young face of John Cena, sorry, was not smiling, it was angry. So it's like, yeah, you're pissed off. Like just like 12, 13-year-old me would be pissed off if Cena turned heel like he did. And then fast forward to me being 37. Now it's like any of these top talents that turn heel, I'm all for it. So he says Randy or Cody turning heel. I think Cody's more likely, mainly because I don't think Randy will turn heel on Jelly Roll at SummerSlam unless they extend that storyline outside of SummerSlam. But yeah, I like that one a lot. Good points, Chris. Appreciate it. Next one we have is Elias underscore Bailey 04. Walk with Elias. Elias's bold prediction: CM Punk defeats Gunther at SummerSlam to become world heavyweight champion. Okay, here's the spicy part. Braun Breaker and Big Bronson Reed come out and beat him up to a pulp. Seth Rollins then hobbles out on crutches just to fall on top of CM Punk after cashing in, pinning him, and stealing the championship belt from his bitter rival. Could you imagine? That would be incredible. Sign me up for that. Thank you so much for that one, Elias. That was great. And I think we have one more from Mark. Mark is at NutKingCall97. I love that. Mark says Solo is getting destroyed in the steel cage match unless Tamatanga returns to screw Jacob Fatu. Again, I'm all here for Tamatanga. Put him in. The guy can do it all the way from New Japan. Give him a mic, give him a ring, just anything. Get him on the screen somehow. Or one of Solo's 97 Cousins debut. LOL. LOL is correct. That is right. There are so many Bloodline members, and it's a great thing. I mean, they've really, really done well in WWE, and there's a lot more out there in the Indies. That's a really good call out. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate that. All right. Well, that's your SummerSlam escape. Again, you can follow me at Pro Wrestling Escape, subscribe, and tell a friend to join the escape. And then next week, we'll be back for our weekly podcast. And then also check out our Instagram at Pro Wrestling Escape if you haven't already. We're doing promos of the week, we're doing trivia, and I also have a new weekly quick segment reel. Is going to be cringe moment of the week. That will be on Friday. So I can't wait to start showing all those cringe moments that you guys all remember. All right, that's it. I'm out. Thank you guys. Enjoy SummerSlam.